U.S. Chamber of Commerce CEO and President Tom Donohue is with us. He's set to speak today at the NASDAQ on how capital markets will revitalize the economy. He joins me right now, and it's Tom, and it's good to see you again.
It's great to be back.
Thank you so much for joining us. So the economy is sputtering, 1.5, 2% growth. How does the economy break out of this very slow pace that we've been in?
Well, first of all, the economy has been sputtering for a long time. That's because since the crisis, basically 10 years, we have had an explosion in regulation in this country, some of it needed, but much of it overkill, particularly on the financial markets. This is pretty simple. If you make it impossible for small and medium-sized companies to get the money they need to hire, expand their businesses, and move forward, you make it impossible to hire more people and to grow this economy. And it is absolutely important that we understand one fundamental issue. If we don't get growth pushing up to 3% and more, we are not going to put people back to work. We are not going to get the growth levels up to where people who invest create new jobs and new opportunities.
Well, it's interesting that you say 3% because we have not seen a 3% year under President Barack Obama's leadership so far. Do you think that's because of overregulation?
Well, that's certainly one very significant part of it. And not only on the financial issue, but on employment and on trade. Although the president has been very good in recent time about trying to get these trade deals. What we fundamentally have to do is put ourselves in the seat of the people that would invest their money and run their companies, and what are the obstructions in their way, and take them away.
Yeah, it's interesting because the trade story has been front and center in this election season. What do you want to see in terms of trade? Because, Donald Trump has said umpteen times, look, we're at the losing end of all of these deals. Would you like to see a redo of some trade deals?
First of all, we must do the Pacific Trade Agreement and get it done by the end of this year.
You're talking about Trans-Pacific Partnership?
Yes, and we need it for two fundamental reasons. It will significantly increase jobs in this country. It will significantly increase jobs and economic development in our trading partners. And the second reason, if we fail to do it, all those countries in the Pacific Wing are only going to have one place to go for their economic and other issues, and that's with China. We have to do this deal.
Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are both against it, TPP.
Let me explain something. If you look at what happened in France when the president is running for office and all of a sudden his polls go in the can, the first thing he does is say, we're not going to do a trade deal with the United States because of agriculture and because of our culture. It's an easy way to cover up your other shortcomings. Blame it on somebody else. We're going to do this deal.
Are you saying that that's the reason they say they don't like the deal, because they're covering up?
I'm saying that when you get into presidential politics, and even politics in the Senate and the House, people never want to talk about the real issues. You have to find the things you can scare people about, or you think they'll understand, or who you're going to blame. You never blame yourself.
Okay, so there you go. So what rights the ship, Tom? You're going to be making this speech at NASDAQ today. What do you want to see, and what would you like both candidates to understand about the economy?
I think fundamentally, if we stop trying to choke the American financial system to death, if we recognize that we're squeezing them not only by what we do, but by what Basel III is doing, if we all of a sudden say we're not going to keep adding to these restrictions, we're going to look to what we have to do, leaving the appropriate changes in place to get money to people that are going to invest it. If we choke the American financial system to death, there is no way households, small companies, mid-sized companies and big companies are going to grow, hire more people, and create economic growth, and the government can't do it.
So the most important policy going into this election and then coming out of this election, whoever wins the president this year, is what?
No growth, no jobs. No growth, no progress.
Got to get growth. And you get growth by rolling back regulation.
No, you get growth by making sure, for example, you go into a bank today, a big bank or a medium-sized bank, there are 5 different regulating agencies of the federal government living in the bank. They all tell them to do something different.
They have offices there.
They do, and they have different instructions. I'm telling you, we have put so much leverage on these institutions that even if they want to lend more money, they can't.
Right. Tom, great to have you on the program today. Thanks for making the point.
Thanks very much.
Tom Donohue joining us there. Still to